All right, members, welcome back to the channel. So today's video, we are going to review 4 funds that I think will create a well-balanced portfolio. Let's get right into it. The fund we're going to look into is the S&P 500. Fidelity offers FXAIX. You have a low cost expense ratio at 0.015%. And just moving into the strategy, it is investing into the S&P 500. So this is an excellent fund to diversify your portfolio. You are getting 500 companies within it. Just to highlight the first top 10 holdings right here, you can see 37% of the portfolio represents Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, Tesla, Google, Broadcom, and Berkshire Hathaway, which creates a nice balanced portfolio. Just to show you the composition a little more detail here, you get the major sectors: technology 32%, financials 13%, consumers 11%, healthcare 10%. That is where the S&P 500 pretty much lies right there. You have a large blend style, so you have between a little bit of growth and a little bit of blend of the value, which is a nice diversification for this. As we reviewed, the fees and distributions are 15 cents per 1,000, so very nice and easy to manage this without getting crushed by expense ratios. And last year, 2024, 25% return, and the average 10-year return is 13% a year on your money, which is excellent. The second fund we're going to jump to is the Fidelity Mid Cap Index Fund. This is FSMDX. This is a mid cap index fund, and I'm going to show you just the strategy of it. 80% of its assets will include the Russell Mid Cap Index Fund. So now we are out of large cap. We are still focusing on United States, but we have a more focus on that allocation. As you can see, we have attractive 0.025% expense ratio. Just to show you real quick, that would be 25 cents for every $1,000 you have invested goes to fees. So that is very competitive in that landscape. Looking at the composition, we have a little bit different here where it's not as tech focused. Industrials and financials make up more of this, of the mid cap index fund here. It's 17% and 16.65%. Technology at 13.85%. Consumer discretionary at 10%. Healthcare a little lower compared to your FXAIX at 9% compared to the 11% that we saw earlier. Looking at the top 10 holdings here, we have PLTR, we have Apollon, Arthur, Williams. What really matters here is look how much percentage this manages over FSMDX, 6% of total portfolio, and it has 812 holdings to help you stay diversified. So this is a fund that I have a video on this, so I'm not going to go too much into it. I will post it at the end of the video for you, so just look at it in the description as well. The next funds, you had the large cap FXAIX, you had the mid cap FSMDX. Next, we're going to move to small cap, Fidelity Small Cap Index Fund, which is FSSNX. This is a excellent fund for small cap exposure, where you get a 0.025% expense ratio. This is 25 cents for every $1,000 that you have invested. And when you are looking at this here, you can see the composition is financials 18%, industrials 17%, healthcare 16%, technology 13%. So you're getting a little more financial, industrial, healthcare, information technology exposure in this small cap region right here. Now, what I want you to see here is this mimics the Russell 2000. So it has over almost 2,000 holdings in it. And notice the top 10 companies only make up 3.81% of the total portfolio. So I think that is very nice that you are well diversified, especially with small caps, because they are so volatile. Looking at the average annual returns, you have a 7.96% over the last 10 years. In 2024, it returned 11.69%, but you can safely say it averages about 7% a year. Now, we don't know what's going to happen in the future if small caps will rise further. They usually outperform the S&P 500 statistically, but so far they have not. The S&P 500 has been the king. Now, to get full diversification here, you have to get some international in there. So Fidelity's Total International Index Fund, ticker symbol FTIHX. This one we're going to break down in further detail. I just want to show you real quick the strategy of it. The objective is to get the total return of the foreign, developed, and emerging stock market. So as you see here, it invests in all country world index. And let's break down the composition, because that's going to give you a way better understanding of what this fund is investing in. We are not in the United States for this fund, and this is why I like it. You're getting that diversification here. Let's first look at the regional diversification. Europe is 39%, emerging markets is 29%, Japan is 15%, Canada is 7.99%, Asia specific ex-Japan is 7%. Look at United States, 0.11%. So you're actually getting some diversification here, which is what you need. The top 10 holdings only make up 9.54% of the portfolio, and you hold over 5,000 holdings, meaning companies. So I like that diversification, with TSM, Taiwan Semiconductors, being the highest at 2.58%. So you're not overly allocated just to one individual stock. Looking at the development value and growth, 59%, developed small cap 8%, emerging markets 29%. I'll post all of these videos. I have made videos on every single one of these funds, but I wanted to create a 4 core holdings that will definitely strengthen your portfolio over time. The performance of this international has not been as well. I mean, last year it only earned 4.99%, and over the life of it, 5.88%. But you are giving yourself that diversification outside of the United States, because most people hold their funds within the country that they live in. Now, as you can see, the expenses and ratios, 0.6. So it's 60 cents per every $1,000 invested. That's 0.06 expense ratio, very competitive for an international holdings play right there. Now, moving forward, how do you allocate this over time? Let's break this down. So personally, I like to have at least a 50 to 60% allocation into the S&P 500 FXAIX. When it comes to the mid-cap index fund, I like to have at least a 15 to 20% allocation. And then the small cap FSSNX, I try to keep at least a 5 to 7% allocation. And then international, usually about 10%. Quick recap on it. The funds are FXAIX, Fidelity's 500 Index Fund. You have the FSSNX, the Fidelity Small Cap Index Fund. Then you have FSMDX, the Fidelity Mid Cap Index Fund. And then to diversify it, to get out of the United States, FITHX, the International Index Fund. What I like about this is FXAIX is providing that U.S. large cap exposure. FSSNX is providing U.S. small cap exposure. And then you have the mid-cap companies, and then you have diversified into international equities. Now, when you look at a 30-year horizon and you're starting to allocate this, one strategy that people like to do is they start to increase their allocation to FXAIX, the S&P 500, over time, while reducing their small cap exposure, which would be ticker symbol FSSNX. And as you get closer to retirement, you would get out of this small cap index strategy and put it more in a stable like the S&P 500. So that's what most people will do when they're trying to diversify or start adding bonds, so they don't have to take that risk. So much for tuning into the video. Definitely check out the links I have in the description under my channel, Trading Simplified. Check out my WAP if you want to have direct access to chat with me about stocks, my YouTube portfolio, buys and sells, and just a community where we all discuss different stock levels, charts, and support and resistance levels. Also check out the Gemini Referral Club for my crypto account. And I'm on Twitter, so definitely check me out there as well. Just click on the link and subscribe. Also, check out the membership and the playlist. I offer free videos on Fidelity, Vanguard, day trading P&L, what stocks are. My members only if you want to join the membership. If you join the membership, I appreciate it. I believe it's $2 a month. If you want to support the channel, I definitely appreciate that. And I do members only posts and videos on different stocks that I am watching as well. But if you really want to get direct contact with me, WAP is going to be the best avenue for that. And definitely check out the community as well. So I appreciate you guys tuning in to the channel. And let me know what your thoughts are on those 4 funds. Is that how your retirement is set up? And if you have anything different, send me the ticker symbol. I'll make a video on it. I always like to see what other people are investing in.